I wanted to talk about something which is being a salesperson. In this industry, in loan origination or in general in the mortgage industry, your goal is not to sell anything. Even though you are selling a service, your goal is not to sell, because if you're selling something, you're trying to get people to buy something that they probably don't need. And the right way to do it is simply to focus on helping people, because if you get paid to help people, you will be happy with what you're doing, number one. And number two, people will be happy with your service. So they'll give you good reviews, they'll refer other borrowers, other customers for you. And by doing it this way, you'll actually enjoy what you're doing. I love what I do. I love helping out people because I get all types of situations. I have one lady right now who's a single mom. She makes a great income, but she's all by herself, and the properties around her area are very expensive and she can't afford them. So she's looking for a property that has an efficiency or a mother-in-law's separate area to be able to rent out and generate that extra income to cover her expenses. So I enjoy helping her in terms of getting financing for that. And in that transaction, I'm actually helping out with the real estate side, which normally I don't really do, but I want her to be well off and be in a good situation with her daughter. And that's when people actually care about other people. And she knows that, and we're patiently finding that property. And when she does, I already have her pre-qualified. I already ran all her numbers. I know she qualifies for the home. And I know that she has the down payment and the credit. So that's just one way of doing it. Then I had another investor, for example, that wanted to purchase another Airbnb home because he purchased an investment home. He was extremely successful with his Airbnb home. He was making, his mortgage payment, his PITI, principal, interest, tax, and insurance payment was like $4,300. And he was making in profit net with Airbnb. He was making anywhere between $9,000 and $18,000 per month, because he was charging, if he had space available for 9 people in the home, and for each additional person, he was charging another $300. And the situation was that a lot of people were actually paying that extra amount because the hotels in that area were very expensive. So it made much more sense to go with him. So he was making an insane amount of money by having this Airbnb home. So I helped him out to purchase another Airbnb home that was right on the same street. And that investor loan was actually quite easy because he had experience doing it. So he wasn't surprised when I told him interest rates are a little bit higher than normal when you're going to go and purchase a home to live it, because there's a higher risk for the lender. So it simply just makes sense. So you have to be reasonable in that sense. He had the money because I helped him take cash out of his investment property. So I was able to help him, plus I made a commission. And then on the other property, I went ahead and I helped him finance it, which now became another source of income for him. And whenever he needs to take cash out of that home, guess who they're going to call? That's right, whoever's helping them. Now, these borrowers, a lot of times, they will get ads from other mortgage companies and lenders where they're telling them, oh, rates starting in the 3s or 4s, something that's simply not realistic. It's not something that they'll actually give the borrower when they get there. It's kind of like a bait and switch situation, but they're able to maneuver it in a way where they won't get in trouble for doing it. But I think it's wrong. I do things the right way, and I warn them. I tell them rates are in this range. So if they're offering you that, you're going to wait till the end to be surprised, and you don't want to have that. So I forewarn them about that. But the key is, as you can see, I'm not selling anything. I'm helping people to achieve their goals. And that's what you should do when you work in the mortgage industry. You're not trying to sell somebody a loan, waving around, oh, I sell mortgages. That's not the idea. Your goal is to actually find somebody that needs your services and then try to go ahead and package it in a way that best serves that person. For example, I had another customer, an attorney, and he sold 2 of his homes and he paid all cash for the home where he lived at. But then he had no liquidity to pay his bills. He didn't have money to pay his credit cards, to pay his car. And I guess he just never thought of that, or maybe he ran out of the money that he had before. And he wanted to get a home equity line of credit, but he didn't qualify for the home equity line of credit. But I ended up refinancing his home. I got him a lower interest rate by using some tricks and tips that you will learn along the way. And by doing it that way, he was able to pay off his current debts, which was part of the deal when he was refinancing. He got a lower interest rate, even though the payment was still higher than what he had before, because his payment before was 0, because he had to pay cash. And I was able to solve his problem. And normally there's some customers that can be difficult to work with, but in this case, the borrower was very helpful. He provided all the documents that I needed. He was ready to assist and do anything needed during the loan by providing documents really quick, paying for the appraisal when it was time, and was able to close in less than 30 days. So he was able to cover all his expenses and all his bills. He had no late payments thanks to that, and he's very grateful. And he's a great customer now, and he refers business all the time just because I helped him out in his time of need. And yes, I got paid for helping him out, but I also did something good for somebody else. So I'm happy about my job. I enjoy doing what I'm doing. And at the same time, I didn't have to sell anything. I helped him out. I told him home equity line of credit is an option, but you don't qualify for it, but I can offer you this makes sense at this interest rate range. And since it did work for both of us, I was able to give him what I had to offer, and he was able to get the money he needed at a reasonable cost. And that's what you should do with your borrowers as well.